Good morning, everyone, and welcome to S-Bank's 2024 results webcast. My name is Riikka Laine-Tolonen, and I am CEO of S-Bank, and together with me here in the studio is Mika Heikkilä, our CFO. You can ask questions related to this presentation, and we are very happy to answer those after the presentations, and you can post the questions to the system if you want. First, some highlights regarding last year. All in all, last year was a record-breaking year for S-Bank, and we have started our next chapter very successfully. Clearly, the highlight for last year was the Handelsbanken transaction, which was completed in December last year. This was the largest transaction ever in our history, and now we are the fourth largest bank for private customers in Finland. Last year was also strong when we look at the financial performance. We can conclude that it was an excellent result while we were also completing this complex integration project. Our operating profit rose to 165.2 million euros, and that was a 12% increase. Please note that this operating profit includes one-off impact related to Handelsbanken transaction of 18 million net impact, positive-wise, of course. Behind the strong operating profit was also good development in net interest income, which was 306.9 million euros, up with 12% as well. Of course, the interest rate level did most of this work, but also our deposit base grew, as well as lending base and AUM. The growth was also, without the transaction, exceeding the market average. Deposit base rose to 9.4 billion euros, lending base 9.5 billion euros, and asset under management 8.3 billion euros. All this good financial performance also led to strengthened capital adequacy ratio, which was 25.4% for last year. I'm also extremely proud that the number of the active customers rose to 747,000, impressive growth of 13.2%, and the net growth 87,000 new active customers. In addition to execute the transaction, we continued to developing our services, focus very much on mobile services, and we are very, very glad to see that also the new customers of S-Bank are very happy with our mobile services. All in all, very strong year, and I want to thank our customers, employees, owners, and of course our investors. Thank you. The economic outlook for this year is our understanding is that we can only expect moderate growth for 2025. Global-wise, we expect that the growth would be close to last year, and in Finland we expect 1.5% growth to GDP on annual basis. We expect that the domestic demand would be picking up, and the interest rates, falling interest rates would have a positive impact on private consumption. We also expect that the housing market would recover from last year when the housing prices would moderately rise and the transaction volumes would be picking up. Also towards the end of the year, there would be more investments as well. Of course, all in all, we have to conclude that it is very uncertain times, but this is our outlook at the moment, and we are updating our outlook next time in March. How do we then see the outlook for S-Bank for this year? All in all, we can see that the Handelsbanken transaction will increase our earnings. Then, on the other hand, we are doing continuous investments in order to implement our strategy, and the investment level for this year will remain higher level. Then, on the other hand, also declining interest rates, of course, will have an impact on our earnings. We can also see that there are uncertainties regarding operating environment, economy, employment, and real estate market. And when we all this summarize, our outlook for this year is that we expect approximately 100 million euros operating profit level. And please note here the one-off impact related Handelsbanken transaction. Mika will touch upon that a bit more also in his part of the presentation. Let's have then a look at our business segments and banking first. Banking is of course the largest and strongest business area for us at the moment. And then there we can see that the operating income improvement was 11.6%, and the operating income rose to 378.5 million euros. And based on that, the operating profit rose to 150.4 million euros. There was a slight decrease compared to last year, and here you can see the impact of Handelsbanken transaction-related costs. Strong growth in deposits and loan portfolio. These numbers, of course, already include the transaction impact, but as I already mentioned, the growth has been exceeding the market average growth also organically. I already mentioned that the number of active customers grew very well last year, and we can see that the customers, increasing number of active customers, they are also increasingly using our services. What is very important for us is that the card usage is also increasing. Last year in euros, the purchases increased with 12%, and when we look at the amount of transactions, it was actually a bit higher, 14%. Then our wealth management, which is also a strong business area for us, we can see that we continued the growth when we look at the number of unit holders. Operating income rose to 41.2 million euros, growth 1.6%. Operating income was negative, and there we can see the impact from Handelsbanken transaction. We did a lot of work and investments, especially in this area, to be able to do the transaction and improve our services. What is important here is that the net subscriptions was positive, 130.9 million euros, and because we want to be also the bank who offers customers low threshold services, in savings area, we are happy to see that the number of unit holders increased to 447,000. But also what is worth to notice that when we look at the new unit holders of hybrid funds in Finland, 1/4 of those were S-Bank customers. I think that this is a very strong proof point that we are reaching those customers who are also starting savings and investments. Then shortly about the strategy and of course the highlights how we did execute the strategy last year. Here you can see our strategy in one picture, 1 year already behind and 3 years to go. We want to become even more customer focused and digital bank. Objectives, we want to reach the 1 million active customers during this strategy period, and we are also setting the target for high value customers. We are going to introduce this target after Q1. Also, target for customer experience improvement will be then communicated. Profitability, we expect to reach cost-income ratio below 60% and return on equity above 10%. And we are aiming also high reputation and trust. 3 key change areas are driving this strategy, and first of them is already now we can tick the box, and I will come back to that shortly. However, there are also 2 other key change areas, and those are we are, as we speak, renewing our service model, and we are also working on improving our scalability. And then about the Handelsbanken transaction. All in all, I'm very delighted to inform you that the acquisition that took place 1st of December was completed very successfully. We met the planned schedule and also the scope of the integration. This was because of a large team, both in S-Bank's team, about 100 people, and then of course in Handelsbanken and in our partners' teams, they did a very good work and prepared carefully the transaction. And we are proud that we can see that this transaction is strengthening our position in the market, and especially in the area of asset management. In addition that our AUM increased, it is also very important for us when we go forward that we are able to offer our customers larger portfolio of investment funds. So, to summarize, we are now the fourth largest bank in Finland in terms of housing loans and deposits. There were almost 100,000 private customers moving to S-Bank, and I'm happy to welcome all those new customers. And there was also approximately 200 new employees, new colleagues, also warmly welcome to S-Bank. And also the branch leases of Handelsbanken were largely transferred 23 to S-Bank. Volume-wise, when we look at the loans, deposits and asset under management, you can here see that it was 2.5 billion euro loans, 900,000 deposits and almost 2 billion euros on asset under management. For us going forward, it is extremely important that we can also ensure that these new customers of ours will be also loyal customers to S-Bank. And we did a small survey already in December, and we are happy that 2/3 of those transferred customers said that the transfer took place smoothly. And of course, when we did this transaction, prepared for that, we developed services, and those are also available for our existing customers. We can see that especially those digital services, what we developed, were taken well by the Handelsbanken customers. What is important considering the customer loyalty is that 74% of these customers consider S-Bank to be their main bank, and they are very happy, especially with the mobile services. And when introducing our strategy, it is obvious that we want to be more digital for our customers, and therefore developing the digital services is at the core of our strategy. Why is that so important for us is that we can see that when customers use the digital services, it offers of course them good services, but also for us a touch point to customers and also cross-selling opportunities. S-Mobile is in a unique way combining S-Groups and our bank services, and it also serves as a primary channel for many of our customers. We can also see that it improves customer experience and gives us an opportunity to scale our business. What we can see is that the utilization rate is high and the number of weekly unique users of mobile app is increasing. At the end of the last year, it actually reached already 1.5 million users weekly, which is a very impressive number to me. Here are also some proof points. When I mentioned that we developed the services, we did launch last year 30 new banking features on digital and mobile platforms. These are to ease the service for customers, but also creating opportunities to buy and for us to sell. And everything what we bring to mobile, it gets a good traction. As an example, we launched last year this monthly savings ability feature to S-Mobile, and 90% of our monthly savings contracts is now opened in S-Mobile. And of course, last year, one of the highlights was that we were able to launch also Apple Pay wallet in addition to Google Pay, and it took very fast adoption, especially among younger customers and young adults, and 15% of our payments is now made by using mobile wallets. And as I mentioned already, this year we are keeping our investments on high level, and one of the main focus areas is to improve and develop our mobile and digital services even further. To summarize, when we look at the main indicators, we are very well on track with our strategy. Operating profit rose to 165.2 million euros. And as already mentioned, the number of active customers to 747,000. What comes to financial targets, our return on equity was 16.2%, which was well above the strategy period set 10% target. Here I want also to emphasize that please note that there was this 200 million share issue to our owners, which of course has an impact here to this number. And costs also, cost-income ratio 53%, which is well below the target of 60%. To summarize, last year most important highlight completion of Handelsbanken transaction and all in all strong year. We are now fourth largest bank for private customers in Finland. And we are systematically implementing and continuing the implementation of our strategy. And very strong focus there to develop our services, our service model, however, especially of course also the mobile services. And we are entering this year with confidence and aiming to also very strong year this year. And with this, I will give over to Mika to give a more detailed introduction to financials.
Thank you. So first, total income. So it was up 18% and the net interest income was 12%. As you can see from the left-hand side, so the net interest income stabilized during the year and the actual peaking point was in the first quarter. Also last year our total cost increased by 22% and the operating profit this 12%, so totally this 165 million result, which was exceptional good. Here we have on the left-hand side the income and cost analysis, and I can touch on a little bit about this Handelsbanken transaction impact in our profits. So in other income, we had totally 29 million negative goodwill impact. So the reason for that is that we paid less than the acquired net assets. At the same time, the acquired loan portfolio, we booked totally 11 million ECL provision. So these two together are this 18 million one-off effect or impact to the profits. Also during the year, we have had this huge integration project. So totally there are around 14 million integration and development cost in other administrative cost. And we will also continue this high investment level this year while we are implementing our strategy. On the right-hand side, you can see the income split, but to summarize, so cost-income ratio was this 53%, and the total income to total assets was at the same level as year before, it was 4%. Our deposits were up almost 15%, so we had both organic growth and also the acquired deposit base from Handelsbanken. So totally the deposit base was 9.4 billion. Our time deposits, they were around 1 billion at the end of the year. So we have totally around 8 billion deposits which are covered by deposit guarantee scheme at the end of the year. Our loan book was also up 36%. It mostly came from this acquired loan portfolio. We also had organic growth in the corporate customer side, which was up 3% during the year. Asset under management was at the end of the last year this 8.3 billion. Most of the increase came from this S-Pankki transaction. We see also slight increase in the repayment holidays, or share of the loans subject to repayment holidays was 5.8% at the end of the year. Our credit losses were totally 43 million euros in 2024, and our ECL provisions increased by 15 million, of which 11 million came from this S-Pankki transaction. We also made some model changes in Q2, so they also affected around 2 million to the total ECL provisions. We can see from the non-performing loans that they were actually quite stable since Q2, so they reached this 1.7% in last quarter. Our balance sheet grew by 3 billion last year. On the left-hand side, you can see that the assets totally, they were 13.2 billion, and the household loans, this 8.3 billion, which is around 62% of the total balance sheet. Also, on the right-hand side, our deposit base totally, this is about 71% of the total assets or total liabilities and equity. And we also were quite active in the bond market, so the issued bonds are now totally 1.7 billion at the end of the year. And we also made this share issue of 200 million in November. Our own funds were around 1 billion at the end of the year, and also the risk exposure amount increased by 1 billion related this acquired loan portfolio. So it was totally 4.6 billion. Our own funds and eligible liabilities, they were around 1.6 billion as the MREL requirement was 1.2 billion, so we have a clear 400 million buffer there. Our capital position is strong. Our equity ratio was 7.4%, and our capital adequacy is 21.4%, and CET1 19.4%. Our liquidity and investment portfolio totally was 3.5 billion at the end of the year. As we can see, the liquidity portfolio is the biggest part, which was 3.2 billion. Our liquidity position is very robust, and most is allocated to the central bank. We can see from the LCR that it was very strong also at the end of the year after the transaction. It was 285%. And to summarize, so we have had now 2 excellent years in our operating profit, and we are now on the new level with the deposits base and loan book base. So the loan to deposit ratio is now 101%, as it was earlier around 84-85%. Despite the integration project, our cost to income ratio was at a good level, and also even after this transaction, we have a robust capital base, and we also have a good return on equity last year, is 16.2%. That was the last page.
Thank you, Mika. And let's check if there is any questions. No, there are not any questions. So then we want to thank you for your attention and wish you a very nice rest of the week. Thank you.